Okay, when I was 12, or our friends and I were about 12, we found a severed hand. Now this was like in Chicago in 1972, and I'll save the trouble doing the math, I'm 53, so. But this is Chicago, and you would think Chicago, with the reputation it has, finding severed body parts wouldn't be that unusual. This is like, town of Al Capone, who was like taking over the entire city, shooting everybody. And this is the town where a lot of the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer and John Wayne Gacy came from. And then you have the regular routine gangbangers who are always there. And every spring, the fire department would find bodies that floated up from the river. They were thrown in there the winter before, and they would freeze and they thaw and float to the top. So finding body parts should be no big deal. But we were kids on the south side of Chicago, and the south side has its own reputation, but it's not as densely packed as you think. There are like areas there, and we found this one area we call it a prairie, but it was actually just like a vacant lot, a few trees were there, some other plants, and we go to the play, we go to have like dirt fights where you throw dirt at each other. Or, one of our fathers, like one of our friends' father had a giant porn magazine collection. We go there to look at it. It was nice and secluded, but we spent a lot of time there. So we were riding our bikes there one day, and it was just playing around. It's this giant mound of like decaying leaves and twigs and sticks and garbage. And we're standing there looking, and one of our friends looks closer and said, "There's something in there." And we look closer, and there's this thing like in this pile of leaves, and it looked like you see like fingers sticking out, and it was like covered in there. We looked, of course, we all looked closer, and that curiosity slowly turned to fear. That thing would tingle where like the hair on the back of your neck and the hair on your arms and even the hair everywhere started standing on you. Well, just the hair. And that fear can be so terrible. We like lit out of there. Everybody went in every direction. People left their bikes there, like, forget your bike, save yourself, run. I think I stepped on 2 or 3 people. We lost a lot of good men that day. But after we got back to the area where we all congregated, we were like huffing and puffing, and Ben, I can't believe we just saw a hand. And of course, our first reaction was to go back and look at it again. So of course, we go back and we're slowly walking through that giant mound of leaves, and these fingers were out. They were dark and like black and wrinkled up, and just like they were grabbing at the leaves, and we couldn't believe it, and we had to get out of here. But it was all we could think about on the way back. We were wondering, like, what would a hand be doing in our neighborhood in this pile of leaves? Like, and we started trying to think of who do we know that only has one hand. And the closest we came up with was the garbage man, Mr. Williams, who had like a half index finger, but that wasn't enough. So, but that was our thing for the rest of the summer. We were out of school, and every chance we got, it was like, hey, let's go look at the hand. And, this pile of leaves, this hand sticking out of this pile of leaves. You could just see like this part here, the fingers, but it was out of this pile of leaves, and we go back there and look. And after a while, it became kind of routine, but it was still like, what do you want to do? I don't know, kind of bored. Want to go look at the hand? Go back and look at this hand again. And we didn't think to tell parents, because who would believe, a 12-year-old kid comes in and says, there's a hand, and we found a hand. So, I'll give you a hand in a minute, you know what I'm trying to do. So this went on for the rest of the summer, and the de facto leader of our group was Brian, and it was his idea to we got to go dig that out of here. We're going to dig it out. And he grabbed the common tool of all kids, stick, from the makers of a tree. But he was going to poke at it with a stick. We're going to get this hand out of there and prove to everybody we found this hand. I don't know what we're going to do with it, what evidence it might serve, whatever crime had been committed somewhere. We were going to dig this hand out and become heroes of some sort. I don't know how. So we go and we're inching closer, and that fear was coming in, that thing was tingling in the back of your neck, and we're like getting behind other people, and like, you go first. No, you go. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll all just go. And Brian takes it and pokes at one of these fingers with a stick, and he hits it and it falls off to the ground. And of course we did our running again and screaming, and because we were 12 and puberty hadn't hit yet, a lot of high-pitched screams. And we worked our courage again to go back after regrouping ourselves and no, we're going to go. And we ran again, picked up a stick and tapped the other finger and that fell off. I was like, oh no. Then we looked closer, the finger was on the ground, it had a rubber band around it. And we looked closer and the other finger had a rubber band too. We started pulling all the other ones down, they all fell out and had rubber bands around it. And what it turned out was that these were old newspapers that somebody had wrapped up, and they just threw them out, and they looked like a hand sticking out of it. Sticking out of it, and it had taken over our whole summer. We were obsessed with this, but it was turned to be a bunch of newspapers that the ink had run, and they had become blackened and wrinkled, and they had been wet for this whole time. But it did make it otherwise, like, usually summer was just you're hanging out, you're doing nothing. It gave a purpose to the summer finally. And in a few weeks, we're going to be back in school and doing our same stuff. But for a short period of time, we had something that taught us that there was more to life out there than it is. And sometimes in life, you need a separate hand.